legal face-off that's playing itself out in the courts, on TV, and in public imagination. Which of these two gentlemen will carry the day? And this is the first time both these lawyers are on TV live at the same time. I want to go across first and foremost to Satish Maneshinde on the delay in the CBI's probe. Over the last few weeks, the focus has entirely been around the drug angle, the Narcotics Control Bureau arresting Rhea Chakraborty, and the original case, which was the charge about abetment to suicide, about allegations around Sushant's murder. Nothing seems to have come off those. What are you making of the reasons behind the delay and the manner in which the CBI's probe has gone on so far? Satish Maneshinde.
Well, as far as the CBI is concerned, I have no complaints about it at all. In June and July, when Rhea Chakraborty appeared before the police on more than 2 occasions, she made a statement and she sent a message to the Home Minister of India, Mr. Amit Shah, that it is time that CBI was brought into the picture to investigate the case. She was the first one to call for a CBI investigation. Subsequently, the matter went up to the Supreme Court because we challenged the matter of transfer from Patna to CBI, and therefore the Supreme Court has transferred it to the CBI. It is at the instance of the victim's family, the so-called lawyer who keeps coming on the TV, has been agitating number of times about the investigations being conducted by the Mumbai police and various other organizations. Now, I had warned that people who have no patience, people who want to get to predetermined result in an investigation, will keep trying to blame the investigating agencies time and again. They blamed the Mumbai police. They blamed the NCB to say that why are they parading Bollywood? Now the blame is being put on the CBI, and it was startling to know that Mr. Vikas Singh, appearing for the family, disclosed that one of the team members of the AIIMS had declared to him that there was a 200% assurance that this was a case of murder by seeing photographs which were privately clicked by one of the family members of Sushant Singh after she found the dead body on the bed lying in Sushant Singh's house. Those pictures were not shot by any investigating agency or any police officer or anyone concerned with the CFSL team. So if a doctor is going to disclose that there is a 200% assurance that this is murder and this is strangulation, I fathom to think as to how the investigations are being conducted. And now if after the CBI has referred the matter to the AIIMS, it is for people to wait for the result of that investigation. It is time for that AIIMS team to come into the picture and say what findings they have arrived at. So when this is happening, a doctor who has discussed the matter with the victim's family and come to a conclusion that it's a 200% strangulation, he must be stripped of his powers to be a member of this team. And the CBI, if at all it has to be a case of impartial investigation, they must constitute a special investigation team of a medical board of doctors and refer it to a new team so that tomorrow there is no other blame being made by anyone against any doctors or any part of the investigation. We have full faith in the CBI, we have full faith in the judiciary, and we have not made a single complaint in spite of the fact that Rhea Chakraborty has been targeted right from the beginning. We even made a complaint to the Honorable Supreme Court about the media trial being conducted by certain channels in our country and mounting pressure on the investigating agencies and the judicial authorities. But in spite of that, Honorable Supreme Court did not think it fit to utter a single word on our complaints of media trial. There are various petitions pending in various high courts and in the Supreme Court. I hope someday,
some decision
will come on these petitions.
The key focus over the next few hours and days is going to be on Rhea Chakraborty's bail plea. I was speaking to top officials at the Narcotics Control Bureau who are sounding exceedingly confident that they will be able to prove before the judge, explain to the judge or persuade the judge that they have adequate evidence to back the invocation of 27A under the NDPS, which is essentially much more than just consumption. So she's not an end consumer, but she's an active part of the drug syndicate. That's the charge that's leveled against her. You, on the other hand, will argue before the court that that is not true. How confident are you at this moment of being able to secure bail for your client, Mr. Maneshinde?
Well, it is my duty as a lawyer to make my submissions before the court. I'll place him tomorrow whenever the matter is heard. And I think it's premature for me to make any assessment on what I'm going to make submission before the court and the findings. I would not like to discuss anything about my bail application that is coming up for hearing tomorrow. In fitness of things, I do not want to make it a media trial as far as the bail proceedings are concerned.
There are reports coming out that on the complaint that you filed, first with the Mumbai police, which was later handed over to the CBI, the sisters of Sushant Singh Rajput will also be called in for questioning by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So what do you make of the fact that the sisters are likely to be called in? And from Rhea Chakraborty's perspective, what are the kind of questions you hope that the CBI asks? What are your charges against the family of Sushant Singh Rajput?
Well, first of all, when she made the complaint before the Mumbai police, she was fully aware of the fact that ultimately it will be transferred to the CBI because the Honorable Supreme Court has passed directions that any complaint in relation to Sushant Singh Rajput's death should be transferred to the CBI and investigated by the CBI. Therefore, she made a complaint in which she narrated as to what happened on the 8th, as to how illegally prescribed medicinal drugs were being administered to Sushant Singh Rajput. And from the 8th to the 13th, the sister of Sushant Singh Rajput was residing with him. So both the sisters were privy to the fact that their brother was under medication for depression and other ailments on the basis of wrongly prescribed drugs. And apart from that, Sushant Singh Rajput's servant, Neeraj, has made a statement, full-blooded statement to the police that prior to his death, Sushant had asked him to make ganja rolls and keep them in his room, ganja joints, and which he's checked after his death and found that the box where he had kept those ganja joints were over and exhausted. So the combination of drugs, narcotic drugs, and medicinal drugs which were prescribed to him and administered to him illegally beyond the scope of law, where could have been the reason which has been the complaint of Rhea Chakraborty.
Okay.
So I feel the CBI on the basis of her complaint should interrogate both the sisters and anybody else concerned with it, including the doctor who made that illegal prescription, and they must go into the fact whether that was responsible for his death, because they were the most proximate persons available at his residence when he died.
You're calling him a so-called lawyer. The knives are out in this battle between the two high-profile advocates arguing on different sides of this divide.